Secure DC crime bill, council unanimously passed
Protesters who wear masks could face arrest,
however,
up to a month in jail and a £1,000 fine under proposed measures that human rights campaigners claim are pandemic. Culture war nonsense due to police in England and Wales will be given the power to arrest can overvote if they are wearing face coverings at specific demonstrations of others demonstrators will no longer be asked to use the right without notice as a reason to work over to commit public order offences.
This is kind of an emergency. So I am sort of speeding around through a conversation that I'm deeming to be urgent. I've got previous videos on this conversation and I'm probably going to do more in a more measured way. But for now, I need to tell you that we're in a bad place. Don't click off this video because I've got more to say beyond that. But let's just start off with the fact that we are seeing fascism everywhere and people's ableism and want to be part of society and essentially gain capital has led us there. Now, when I wrote Burden, it was about the interpersonal ableism that I experienced from my roommate who essentially did just that. She wanted to party, she wanted to kind of get opportunities, like work opportunities, but thus wouldn't do it in a way that would be safe for me to live with them. And that's kind of why our relationship blew up, and that's why I wrote Burden. I knew that wasn't a unique situation to be in because many disabled people who are COVID safe have said, hey, I'm having trouble with my living situation due to X, Y, and Z. What I didn't realise is that we would get to the institutionalisation and the policing and the surveillance so quickly. So if you don't know what I'm referring to, I mentioned in a previous video that Eric Adams and his anti-mask policies that were coming up in New York were kind of dangerous and setting a dangerous precedent across the world of what it could mean to access public life if you're trying to be COVID safe. What I'm now starting to recognise is that we have jumped past the talking stage and going straight to the we are going straight to the institutionalization stage. To be quite honest, a friend of mine has been institutionalized because they asked about COVID safety measures in a hospital. There was a tweet that expressed the exact same thing. We are seeing people not being able to access public transport, shops for groceries, well, shopping, because I'm British, the workplace, that's my story, schools, what have you. It's like, it is becoming unsafe to be in public life. It was always unsafe to be in public life, let's be clear, re-up on your ugly laws, but it is getting to the point where the shine has come off and we're not even hiding it anymore. I'm looking at it is that I don't think people realise how scary this is, because let's take my situation because that's what I feel comfortable talking about. I asked for COVID safety measures, and when I say COVID safety measures, all I said really was, can everybody in the place test so that I'm not going into the workplace with tuberculosis? And worst case scenario, if you're sick, go home. Now, if we were in a neutral country, that whole COVID safety thing would be a lot different. But what was interesting is that instead, rather than an email saying yes or no, it resulted in me having a meeting with HR, the head of HR, who had to sort of put me in my place because I dared ask for reasonable adjustments. And see, all of this is about determining how capable I am at my job. And it's not necessarily my actual capacity, my physical capacity. It is more actually about the capacity to follow orders. And I don't mean that to be sort of like 1984, which I mean, boy, that book is a little bit on the nose. But I'm talking about like, are you capable of being a good worker? Now, the reason why I've been able to execute this bit so fluently is because I've been reading a book called The Right to Maim, and look, I'm at chapter 4, okay? So we ain't got to the Palestine bit yet. However, what is really clear to me after reading this book is that when you're in a surveillance state, it's not only just about disciplining you, right? If you go out of line and you step outside of the box, it's not just about disciplining you by taking away your benefits, because maybe how dare you try and earn money without telling us. It's not about like taking away your job. It's about disappearing you, institutionalizing you in ways where it's easy for you to disappear. And we talk about, say, like jails and like how people can face jail, like referring back to the masks and the protests. But putting you in a psych ward is probably the easiest way to institutionalize you, because then the rights that you have are so limited that they can do whatever they want with you. Drug you, test you with unmandated tests. They could, again, take away benefits, take away housing, take away your job. I referenced Free Britney because I can't lie, this weekend I was in such a depressed state that I always go back to my Britney Spears because she makes me feel happy. But even in some of her videos, you know, we saw like how people talk about she was just performing and it was like nothing there. But think about the institutionalization, or think of the way that her conservatorship took away a lot of her rights. A celebrity. And I'm going to add like a quote to this video, which is called, I'm going to read it off my laptop, so my eye line is here, but I promise I'm looking at you. It says, quote, "Discrete and discontinuous sites of punishment, the prison, the mental health hospital, the school, are extended spatially and temporally through continuous regimes of secularization, driven by calculated risk and averages." So again, it's how risky you are to capital. It's how risky you are to the state and the cause. And again, I really do sound like my third eye is opening. I promise my third eye is not open. I do not have my Hotep hat on. I'm quoting literature. I'm trying to keep this light because this is kind of depressing, because this is my mates at the end of the day. But lastly, and I'm going to end this because the battery's dying, is how do you lot come into it? And why am I being mean and saying you ushered in fascism? Well, your unmasking did. The state only has so much power. The government, the DWP, the NHS, they have a lot of power, but they don't have so much. If doctors, for example, were to actually stand 10 toes down and say, hey, I am going to wear my FFP3 regardless, and I am going to, you know, join a union of people, and we're all going to come together to protect those who are clinically vulnerable. Do you know how much that would change the landscape of the medical system? Same with schools. Boy, that's why I quit my job. Same with, you know, people who can't work. How are we protecting them? We're not, is the answer. Because you refusing to wear masks at the I keep saying grocery shop. I am British. You refusing to wear masks at the supermarket results in disappearing people. You refusing to wear masks at the pharmacist is disappearing people. And now, because they know they're not going to get any pushback, maybe a viral tweet that's like, hey, this is a bit mad, you know, about masking in protests, but that's it. It means that they are doing the green light to say, okay, let's deal with this problem head on. Again, let's go back to how are they dealing with it? With forms of surveillance. And it's not authoritarian to ask for solidarity. We're asking you to protect us so that we aren't disappeared from public life, and we can be in solidarity with other causes, because as people have been saying many times, it's all fucking connected. We're asking for our sake and our livelihoods. You know, I'm about to quote my own song, but that's corny. So please go to the description, do your reading. I can't help the cars, they're doing their own thing today, that's fine. do your reading. Please share. Oh my God. All right. Please support those who are asking for support on their GoFundMe's. We're trying to raise €2,000 for Kat so that they can get their own place to avoid abuse. And please, 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 please focus on community over capital at all times.